Hello, welcome to another episode of Building a Leadership Mindset podcast. I'm your host, Nikki C, and we are here with an amazing guest that I just met in San Antonio. But before we get there, let me send a huge shout out to our sponsors who actually make this happen every single week, every single day, actually. And that is Jose Escobar with the Connected Leaders Academy, Patrick Rude with Rude Financial Services, and the Breathe Capital Planning with Noah and Julie. So happy for them. If you need to know anything that's going on with BALM Global, you can reach us on our website at www.buildingaleadershipmindset.com. A couple of events are coming up November 7th. All ladies, we are calling for the Radiance 2.0 event that we are having through Ladies of Leadership. Again, that is October 7th. It's a Saturday, 9 to 12. Come share your morning with us and be empowered and inspired. We also have the online business mindset mania, where we're talking about seasons in our lives that we change, transition, and things of that nature. And that is November 18th, 2023. And don't forget, we're going on tour 2024. You can also visit our website at www.buildingaleadershipmindset.com/events. And you can get all the dates and what we're about and what we have coming up and how you can join our mission. So enough about that. That's good with all the updates. We have an amazing individual that I had the privilege of meeting in San Antonio, and just listening to his story and being able to share the room, the stage with him was absolutely phenomenal. And I know I have a new friend for life. We connected on so many levels. So I'm super excited to bring him on to share his story and join the BALM Global family. So his name is Zack Tlili, and he has a remarkable journey that began as a North African immigrant who faced early adversity, losing his parents at age 10 and becoming homeless. Undeterred by the odds that stacked against him, he refused to succumb to despair. Instead, Zack chose to battle for his present and future, drawing invaluable life lessons from his tumultuous past. By the age of 20, he triumphantly completed his college education and immigrated to the United States. Here, he found love and wed his sweetheart and embarked on a career in automotive industry. Zack's dedication and drive propelled him to soar through the ranks from a top-notch salesman to managerial roles, ultimately reaching the zenith as a finance director and successful business owner with over 23 years of experience in training, business, and diversity coaching. Zack Tlili stands as a paragon of resilience and achievement. He is not only an award-winning motivational speaker, but also a revered leadership coach, inspiring others to overcome obstacles and reach their highest potential. Everyone knows leadership is my love language. So when we connected and when I heard his story, he definitely has that leadership mindset. And I knew I had to get him on. Without further ado, let me bring on my new friend, Zack. How are you?
I'm doing great, Nikki. How are you? It's good to be here with you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. It has been an absolute pleasure to be communicating with you since San Antonio. Even though I went through the craziest time to get there and even crazier time getting back. I don't know if you heard what happened, but I had the same delays and it was horrible getting back home. But we made it safe and sound, and we are here now, and I am so happy to have you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you made it safe.
Absolutely. So let's kick it off. You had a powerful award-winning inspirational story. You took home the trophy. I don't know if you had it. I should have told you to have it.
I have the trophy. It's here with me. I should have had it behind me. But no, I have it. It's exactly where it needs to go. Yes, I have it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome, and congratulations. And tell us a little bit about who you are, because that's actually what you told on the stage from the very beginning of childhood. Take us on that journey.
Look, it's as you remember when I said that, usually certain things in life, no stage is big enough really to actually be able to tell a story, especially when it's genuine and it's actually based on true events, because we all read and hear about, stories, and we see people, but we never really know who do you have in front of us. We never know what actually people are going through with us. So the journey of mine, as sad as it was, uh, I tried my best for it not to gain any type of sympathy or empathy, other than maybe for people to get, the lessons behind it. You know, Unfortunately, yes, you're gonna have someone that'll tear up. You're gonna have someone that's gonna have, simply because we're human, someone is gonna have to feel some type of empathy and sympathy. And oh my God, how can a 10 years old go through that? So uh, it's a journey that began before when I was 10 years old. Like I told you, I was, a small kid, in a small town in a small country, as I mentioned before. It's probably, to the majority of people, probably won't even know how to spell, may not, nonetheless, to find it on Google search. So life life was good, because at that stage of my life, 9 years old, 8 years old, 7 years old, you have your parents, you go to school, you're fed, you have a roof over your head. That meant everything. We didn't look for more, like, nowadays, what kids are asking for. What the world is doing to children now, it's not what it did to us. We were satisfied with just what we had, and as long we were able to go home and see our parents, and they put us to sleep, and they do a prayer, and they wake us up in the morning, whether they scream and you're late, you just got up, time to go to school, they dropped you off. That was the world. That meant everything for a child to be happy. So that's all we needed. We didn't need anything else. We didn't need anyone to validate us, because our parents just did the job by loving us. And but things, obviously, in life, nothing stays forever on the top. Things change. So I'm sure, Nikki, if you've known people, you've heard stories. People are married today that divorce tomorrow. People are today, they're loving each other, and tomorrow they stand in courts fighting each other. So events could happen suddenly, but life doesn't give you a heads up on what's to come next. you know so the only thing you might have is a little bit of faith, and the faith is what was there for me when I was 10, because as 10 years old, I lost both parents. So, and for the sake of my heart and for the healing soul of mine, I'm not going to go too much into the detail of it, just because my heart is healing from it, and I've made my peace. I made my peace. But everything changed. You were someone, now you have a complete new identity, not by choice. Some people chose to give you a new identity, and you have no choice but to accept that new identity. But you'll have to fight yourself to prove, while you embrace it, that's actually not me. And that's what happened to me. Is I was told that you would never be there. I was told that your future is coming to an end. I was told an underwood bridge, perhaps I might die. I was told, like I told you, I would be a drug addict. I was told that, I'll never have friends. I'll never get married. I'll never be liked. I'll never be admired. I never reach any goals because of somebody else's sins. And that's the injustice society does to kids. Think about it. If you do this to a 75 years old man, you'll probably feel very guilty. You tell yourself, how did they do this to a senior citizen? How could they actually come to a senior citizen and tell him such thing? Now think about it when you do that to a 10 years old. Right there and then you put a label on a kid. You put, the kid is already going through some trauma, some hardship. I don't think hardship and trauma are are, are fair enough to use in this situation, because like I told you, the day before you have aunts, uncles, friends, neighbors, teachers, grandmothers. The next day you had no one. You had your brothers and sister. They literally were all 5 years apart, and we had to figure out things on our own. So you have to choose to fight, and you fight, and you find yourself anchored in. There are a lot of anchors tied into you, and everybody wants you to keep tied to stay tied down to these anchors. But you have to choose. We chose that we have to cut down the anchors ourselves. How? Didn't happen overnight. Tears along the way, struggle, despair sometimes when you think, but all of a sudden you have to wake up, because there is no one else there to correct you. There is no one else to lead you. You'll have to lead yourself. You have to look ahead and you have to look forward. Well, everyone wanted me to be something. So it's a foretold destiny of mine that made me choose my new destiny. My foretold destiny is you never make it, you never do this, you never do that, you're a failure, your brothers are failure, your sister will be a prostitute, your brother will be a drug addict. That's our foretold destinies. But I chose my own destiny. My own destiny is to continue to fight. If everybody at school thought that I'm such a bad influence, I tried everything again, not to prove to them that I was a good influence. No, I was trying to prove to myself that I'm much more than what they actually claiming me to be. It's because I had nothing to prove to anyone. I didn't need to prove anything to anyone. And not until today, at the age of 43, you're talking about 33 years later, when I stood up on a stage, you know what it felt like? When I stood up on a stage, I felt so much relief and happiness and excitement, because you know why? No one can claim my success with me. No one can look and say, well, I was part of it. What's my reward for it? No one can do that. I can open my arm wide open and tell you no one can claim my success. Why? Because I won that road all alone, day by day, hour after hour. I remember, as a matter of fact, as a child, I had an ear infection. And I could not buy the medicine enough for it to heal. And whether you believe it or not, Nikki, I came here at the age of 20. At the age of 21, when I actually went to a doctor here for me to get my ear looked at, because I had a big hole in my ear that I was never able to actually get it healed or repaired, because financially I was not worried about my ear or the cosmetic look. Is the inside that I was worried about the most, is how do I heal my soul and myself from everything, and how can I, take off all the labels, and how can I cut down any more anchors left behind. And that was done with a lot of prayers and a lot of faith of my brothers and sisters they had in me. And at the age of 20, as you know, because like I told you, if I'm going to tell you the whole story, it's probably going to take us days. But I know we're both times. So 20 years old, finding myself in the United States of America, things weren't as easy as people thought, because people, they have the dream. People talk about the American dream. The American dream is a statement made by so many foolish people, I hate to admit. And am I saying that there is no such thing as the American dream? Either you work hard, you thrive, you make something out of yourself. It is your dream. It's your dream, is not the American dream. Now, I'll tell you one thing to give credit to America, is America takes everyone and accepts everyone. Now that's completely different. America brings the wounded, the sad, the poor, the orphan. It doesn't matter. America accepts us all. But America gives us one way. It says either you go this way or you go the other way. We're not going to be here for you along the way. There is nobody in America that's going to say, hey, please follow me, come with me, follow me. I'm going to give you the American dream. You got to go make your dream. So it's about my dream, not anything else. And the dream is to be bigger than the moon. It turns out that I'm actually becoming a little bigger than the sun, And this is not like, empty pride, or it's just when you look at yourself, what you have come from, and where you're headed, and what you have accomplished, whether it's small or big. Because accomplishment, it does not necessarily mean that you're financially set or you're on top of the world or any of that. Being happy and comfortable, and you accept yourself for who you are and what you are today. And there is nothing wrong to want more from tomorrow. But how do I choose to live today? At the younger age, I didn't have a choice to live today, because it was all about tomorrow. It was because tomorrow I had something to prove to myself. Now I don't need to prove anything because it's one day at a time. If I told you my new book that I'm actually fixing to publish, it should be coming out soon. The new book, what is called, uh, How Yesterday Shaped My Today.
Mm.
Because it's today that will shape tomorrow. But what do we do with today? Do we enjoy today? Do we reward ourselves with today's success? And we also have to reward ourselves for today's failures, because failure, there is no success. And you've heard before, Nikki, that people talk about fear. You could never call somebody courageous. If you can never call him courageous unless he had fear. If there
Mm.
is no fear, there is no courage. So you have to have fear to be courageous, to do something, to come out of the box, you know? And that was the whole thing for me. It was, what is it that I'm going to do to go to the next level while enjoying today? Today, when I come home through the door, the first thing I get is, my daughter, Jenna. She has to get the first hug, and my son, Yusuf. Not that I hug her first, but sometimes she runs the door faster than him. I'm sorry, sometimes he runs faster. And then I'm able to see my wife, So after a long day of work now, it's family time. So how do we cherish today? Like I told you, I didn't have a chance to cherish today for many, many, many years. Now I get to cherish today and look forward to become bigger tomorrow. A book to be published now, from an orphan that was told you could never be, to someone that stands on stage and says, my book is being published. And I have companies fighting. Back then, I had no one fighting for us. Now I have company fighting to publish my book. Back then, you have no one wants to talk to you. Now everybody on stage wants to hear you. So these things, get to teach us one thing only. We're never destined to do one thing. We write the future. We spell the letters. We close and open our books, and there is no outside influence other than God. God opens the way for you when you least expect it. When no one was there, the Almighty God was always there. So if anyone deserves the credit, is God. Does my wife deserves the credit? No, because if God didn't put my wife on my way, I wouldn't have such a good wife. So God takes the credit for any success we do, and that's what led me the way it did, and not to go astray, and to be at a position of my life when I can say I made it to where I want to be today, but I have a long journey to what's ahead. What's yet to come? What's yet to come is, uh, I've been doing a lot of research and study. I would like to audition for the TED Talk, and I'm trying. Yes, it's been in my mind, for weeks and months, and writing notes and doing things. And would it happen? You can bet on it. It will happen. Would it happen my first try? Maybe not. Would it happen my second try? Maybe not. Maybe yes. But that's the plan for me. What am I going to do next? In the business of what I'm at now, selling cars, buying cars, closing deals, being profitable, reaching the level of success as far as car selling goes. My business that's open is, I named it actually House of Cars with a Z, S-A. I took that from the old show House of Cars. So
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
now it's called House of Cars. And it's really, if you look at it, and we're probably, we're the only store in San Antonio that will have 5-star reviews in each and every one of them. And you will see our slogan. It says, at House of Cars, where principles really matter. Principles do matter to me.
Wow.
Principles do matter, and they have an effect so deep in people, but people just don't acknowledge that. So in the journey of success, we'll have to teach ourselves to stay humble and to hold on to some type of goodness in us. Because I've met so many people that I've asked about books, and I ask about, what can I do to become a speaker? Okay, I'm going to send you this link, 5,000, 7,000, I'll show you.
What?
Why is it always about taking? Why is it always about taking? Why is it never about giving? Because the power of giving is healing to the soul. The part
Mm.
of think about it. The part when you give, when you give genuinely without expecting anything back, it's very, very powerful. It goes a long way, but everyone is so focused on what? Today and how much I can take from Nikki. What can I give Nikki? If I'm on Nikki's podcast, what is it that I'm giving her? I don't want Nikki to cry and feel sad and sympathize and, for Zack's story, So, no, I want Nikki. What's beneficial for Nikki? What can I do for Nikki? Because I'm sure that's what she's thinking about me as well. What can I give Nikki? Let me give Nikki some lessons I learned in my life. And they're not written in books. I was not prepared I had no idea what we're talking about in your podcast.
Yeah.
These are just the certain things that just come out naturally, and we have to keep some goodness in us, because that's something I could not find growing up. That's something I missed a lot, and I make it my mission to be able to be the helping hand, to be able to be the giving hand, and not to be the one that takes, to be the one that leads the way, shows the way, and walks the way, not the one that just talks it. Because everyone will tell you it's that way. What everybody will tell you, I told you, that's called talking the way and showing the way. But we have to walk the way with people.
Absolutely.
Because what you do for life, it goes for eternity, It's very simple. You can write something on Facebook, it will haunt you for the rest of your life. And you can write something on Facebook, people will remember it for the rest of your life. So,
oh my goodness, so powerful, so much to unpack there. What I heard was just a child that was resilient, that had to adapt to the circumstances, that had a mindset to not prove to everyone, but prove to themselves, right? To yourself, that you are not gonna allow anyone to label you, and you were gonna do everything that it took in your power to write your own story, which I absolutely love. And it's so amazing. But you did talk about TED Talks, and I have someone to connect you with who's actually been on the TED Talk stage.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
So I'm definitely going to connect you with that person. And this is what it's about. It's about listening to each other. It's about networking, collaborating, following up, because I could have just said, hey, you had a great story, and just left it at that, right? But I have a podcast. When we have a platform that we're looking to change other people's lives, you share that platform with your community and those that are inspiring, especially if that's your mission, and you give them the opportunity for exposure, because someone needs to hear your story. I can't wait to read your book. I know that's going to be absolutely amazing. So you definitely stay connected with me so you can give me that information and we can share it with our community as well.
Most definitely would.
Then we talked about, coming to the States and the American dream. And I never really seen it in that perspective, that it's our dream. America is just the location that we're in, that everyone comes and actually makes their dreams come true, right? Because the opportunities are endless if you take the chance on yourself and take those actions to believe in yourself and build that vision out and actually do it, right? Because that's where most people stay stuck at. It's really those non-believers. We believe what people tell us, right? We look for validation. And it's crazy that you said validation, because when I first came into this space last May, and I spoke on the stage as a competition for the first time, my first talk was on validation.
That's fantastic.
And it's
That's
so
amazing.
crazy, right?
Yes.
So it absolutely was. It's like, why do we let people validate our hopes and dreams, things that we want to do, things that we are destined to do? But if we don't listen to the downloads that we get from our higher power, whomever you believe in, right? For me, it's God as well. And when God told me 3 years ago, if not now, when I was deciding to leave my job, if I didn't listen to him, this right here would not be happening. So I am just truly blessed, truly obedient to what God is telling me. And is this journey easy? No. And I know your journey definitely wasn't easy because you're coming to a foreign country. You do have your mindset set on exactly what you're going to do, but I'm sure there were some challenges, some walls that you had to kind of run into before the doors actually opened. And how did that look like for you? How did you get through those adversities?
You know, coming into the country at first, I told you the goal was for me, because I was somehow naive to how America is. I knew America is big and anyone could be anything in America. So, knocking on the door opens up, right? And then you look, when you open up, you look down and it's like a big hill coming down. Like there is, you're terrified because you didn't expect that. You expect a platform, you expect a common solid ground. There isn't one. What's next? What's next is, oh, I'm going to go ahead and go to college and get a master's degree. Well, little did I know, I came to the United States at $800. So when I went to apply for some colleges and they started talking about student loans and how you're paying for it, I'm like, what are you talking about? What do you mean paying for school and college? And I have $800, take some food and water and the taxi to go back to where I'm staying. There is no money. So I was, I had to drive and with the help of a friend and to find a place where I can actually get a job. And it didn't matter what job, and the first job that I stumbled in was a gas station, and the guy said you're willing to work late hours, till 2 or 3 in the morning. I said, what am I gonna do? He goes, well, you're gonna be cleaning the bathrooms, picking up the trash, loading the freezers with the alcoholic beverages. I said, okay, we'll do that. So, and then I'm looking around 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. on a Saturday night, on a Friday night. I see the cashiers, people that are from here, that are born here and raised here, they're behind the register. All they had to do to get paid twice as much as me was just to ring you up. My job was to clean, somebody's urine after they threw up after a long night of drinking. But it didn't matter because that was something that I had to be done. Now I have an opportunity to support myself and feed myself because once again, I was not counting on anyone hand in hand. All my years of childhood, all the way to today, that day when I'm at the gas station, there was no help. So today there is no help. There is no why it should be better. No, it shouldn't be better. The gas station it is. So I worked at the gas station for a year and a half. That's pretty much what I did. And then right next door to us, there is a Ford dealership, right next door. And we have this gentleman by the name Mike Fording. He was a general sales manager. He was one of the higher ups in this dealership, and he used to come there. And he came in and one day, and he said he wanted to buy some Copenhagen and some beer. And so I sold him, I had to sell him. And then he goes, hey, man, did you ever think about selling cars? I said, no. And I didn't want to give him too much details because I had no paperwork. At this time of my life now, it became my visa expired. I'm working illegally. So I did not want to tell him my secret and tell him, oh, I don't have paperwork. I said, no, I don't like to sell cars. He leaves. A few days later, he comes back. And then same thing again. You want to come and sell cars, because he was nice. He was nice to me. We laughed, we built a strong rapport. But I could never tell him that I cannot sell cars. Not because I didn't want to, but because I couldn't. But of course, I couldn't tell him that. And eventually, when I, became legal and I got my first permit to work, I walked from the gas station straight to his place. And I had long hair and ponytail. I used to play a lot of soccer and I had my long hair. And I said, Mike, he said, yes. I said, I want to sell cars. He goes, why took you so long? I said, well, it's just the time is right. And, started selling cars. At that point, I didn't, the opportunity for me to sell cars was amazing because now I'm not cleaning the bathrooms. I'm not cleaning anybody's urine. But there is a bigger challenge now. I've never had a car. I've never owned a car. I don't even know what a spark plug meant. So now it's the next challenge now is to learn about cars. So when people worked 5 days a week, I worked 7 days a week. When people were off on a Sunday, I was there on a Sunday because I wanted to read every MSRP sticker of the car. I had to read it and and a lot of words I didn't understand. So I had to translate the words. I had to know what do you mean, 60. What does it mean 36,000 miles warranty? What does that mean? And I learned one thing, and this is when customers ask me questions about cars. That is a customer that I remember specifically. She said, "You sold me yourself and you have no clue about the car, do you?" I said, "I don't." She said, she was asking me a question. She said, "I don't know, but I will find out." So I went and brought my manager, which is Mike Fording, to explain to her, "Hey, this is what's happening, and this is Zack is new. He's barely in the country recently, and he's barely started selling cars, so I can answer your question." So she told him, "No, he's fine. I like Zack." Right then and then, I realized that when I said, "I don't know," it is very powerful, Nikki, when you say, "I don't know." When you say, "I don't know," with a lot of sincerity, people actually do. People appreciate that, because "I don't know," she said, "I like you. You sold me yourself." So I learned two things from that lady. Sell yourself, you win the crowd. Number
Mm.
one. And I got that years later. I watched the Gladiator. Remember, he tells them,
Mhm.
win the
Yeah.
crowds. So she said, "Sell yourself." And then when I said, "I don't know," so those two things I kept during my entire career in the car business. "I don't know," "Sell yourself. Uh, of course, with some struggle and not giving up, I found out that I'm not a Spanish speaker. A lot of customers that are actually coming into the store, a lot of them speak Spanish. So I said, "Okay, I'll buy a book and I'll learn Spanish." So I became almost fluent in Spanish. Now I speak Spanish and I can sell cars with Spanish. And from the salesman of the month, people were selling 15 cars to be the top salesman. My second month in the business, I was selling 36 cars,
Oh.
because things that I was doing, people are not used to. People are not used to sacrifice. People looked at the clock at 6 p.m. He has to go on a Friday or Saturday because he had the date. He has to go to a club. He had to go dance. And I'm not saying these are wrong or bad by no means, but they had the mission. I'm here till 6 or 7. After that, I have the life that's waiting for me outside work. For me, it was a career and a mission of my life. There was no time for mistakes. There is no time. There is no time for error. There is time to make me and make my future, and every single day counts. So I did not want to be second in business. I did not want to be the second salesman. I want to be the first one, because I knew what things I was doing and the way people came back looking for me. That means something I was doing was right. The referral base is so powerful, and all is built based on honesty and sincerity. A lot of people don't get that. It's about today. It's about this one sale, about this one sale. It's not about today's sale. It's not about the car I sell you, Nikki, today. It's about the next cars that I'm going to sell to your whole neighborhood and all of your family members. That would never happen if the experience that you will have, you and I, today, it might be a transaction. We might do a transaction, but it will be miserable because you had no choice, because you happened to deal with me. So I read through customers, it was about not selling you the vehicle today. It was about selling myself and earning your business for life to come. And with that, within months, I became, sales manager, which I excelled in doing it because, again, I didn't have time to make mistakes. Did they make mistakes? Yet, but I didn't have the time for them. So when we made them, we have to fix them. We have to learn from them, and we have to keep climbing. And slowly but surely, from being the top salesman, now at this age, I train the best salesman in the state. I have salesmen that train their own stores. I have salesmen that open their own businesses and insurance companies. My wife and I would walk down at the Costco or at the Sam's, and then somebody will introduce me to his wife and I say, "Hey man, this is Zach. This is the guy that taught me everything in the car business." Just like I told you, Mike Fording is the one that taught me everything in the car business. Because
Yeah.
I could never forget what Mike Fording did for me. So when you see someone say, "This is the person that showed me the way," it's priceless.
Oh my
It's
God.
priceless. And I want to continue to do that. I want to continue to show the way and empower a lot of people that were actually told that they can never be anything. And, the mission is big, the road is still long ahead, but with a little bit of honesty and sincerity and hard work, uh, I think we can do it. I'm sure you've done it and you're still doing it every day. And that's my mission. I don't want to take, because we can take, but in a complete different way. when you provide and empower and give, it's just natural for you to earn. No one is expecting you not to earn a living based on what you're doing. You are allowed to be profitable, and you're allowed to buy a house on a hill and buy a yacht and travel the world with things you do by giving. But the intention is not to take.
Yeah.
My intention is not to take anything from anyone, because they've taken everything from me at that age. So the taste is so sour. So you and me are looking for ways to give while growing and getting better. And that's my mission, is to
Um,
empower everyone to do the things I couldn't do and the things somebody else better than me did.
that is so awesome. It has been powerful. Like I could really listen to you for hours. Um,
I get
Even when you were on stage, like it's your perspective to life is the definition of what we should all be doing, right? I totally get what you're saying, because there's so many times that we think that we just can't do certain things. And the fact that, and I actually worked at 3 gas stations too, so we have a relation there
there
as
you have
well.
it. Yeah.
I actually, it was a great job because I worked like the lottery part, and a lot of people who would hit like thousands, 10,000. I actually had a lady who hit she was one of 3 winners on like um the pick 5, and it was like, I think it was maybe like 70,000. I think she left me like 3,000 just because I put her numbers in, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna accept it. She was like, no. So that was a good side hustle. um but there's so many times where we stay stuck. And did you know you were determined to, once you got your papers, that you were going to walk into that car dealership? Was that already set in stone for you, or did it have to?
Nikki, when certain people, some people have amazing effect on others.
Mm,
When I was at the gas station, and all I do is fill up the freezers, pick up the trash, and clean up urine and throw ups, and then you have this big, tall man that comes in and says, "Hey, would you like to come and sell cars?" So you look at yourself for a second, you pause, you're like, "Me? I mean, you know what I do for a living? I know you saw me outside, but you didn't really see me cleaning the bathrooms. That's what I do for a living. Now you're offering me to come and sell cars." So when he said that, and then he asked me the second time and the third time, is he put a charcoal in my heart. He lit up a fire that was impossible to extinguish. It became the mission, nothing else, because someone came, stood up right in front of me and told me, "Hey, without knowing what I do exactly at the gas station, you can do a lot more." He
mm,
expected nothing from me. I learned giving from Mike Vaughan. He expected nothing from me. This is the Zack, the immigrant, the nobody. This guy lives in a hill. This guy lives in $1 million house. He drives $100,000 vehicles. Guy doesn't need any validation from anyone, but he told me, "Whenever you're ready, come see me." So
mm,
he lit that fire in my heart, and that was nothing that I wasn't going to do to make it where I can actually see him face to face and tell him I'm ready for it. So the plan was to sell cars, and I will sell cars, and I did. After that, the plan was to become a manager, because it's so managers that are just, they look cooler, they look smarter, they make more money. So I said, I'm going to be one of them. So I did that, and then I wanted to become a finance manager, and then, oh, fantastic, the title is amazing. Oh, I'm finance now, and so I became one, and I became finance manager of the year, 4 years back to back, undefeated champion. There was no one that can touch the numbers, because they've done with such a way that customers were happy when provided service, you know. And the mission after that was to become a director and then become a general sales manager. So when I learned is, once you set your mind for something, the road is hard. There are a lot of bumps, a lot of anchors, a lot of no's, but I'm sorry, sometimes you can find the love of your life, and sometimes the first thing they tell you is no. And yet, to somehow you end up spending the rest of life with the same person that said no, right? So no's are just part of our lives. No's are what makes us, because if everything was yes, we lose interest in everything. There is no interest on a yes. So if I met my wife, hey, I would like, yeah, okay, go ahead, let's go. So there is no value. Things become too easy and they will have no meaning. But the bumps on the road is what give you that bittersweet taste. Like, wow. I don't know if I told you. It took me 6 months to take my wife to lunch. She said no for 6 months.
Oh my goodness.
I swear to God, 6 months. She drove me crazy. She said no, but that when finally she goes, yes, I marry you. The feeling is it's just beyond comprehending, and that's just part of life. Is the obstacles, the no's, you can't, and then you figure a way just to do the opposite. And I chose to do that. And today I wanted to be on the biggest stages. I will get there. Bumps, oh, there'll be plenty of them. Failures and mistakes, oh, there are going to be so many of them, because sometimes I feel like I have no idea what I'm doing. But guess what? I never knew anything else. I didn't start anything else that I knew before. Absolutely. I didn't know what spark plugs meant. Now we're driving cars, So we just have to put our minds at ease by thriving hard, looking straight ahead, enjoying today, appreciate everything we have, and don't looking at the past. Everyone will tell you, stop looking at the past. If you want to be successful, stop looking at the past. Huge mistake. Your past shapes you, because your past is not 20 years ago, Nikki. Your past is 5 minutes ago, is a second ago, is yesterday, is last night, is what you've told so-and-so 5 minutes earlier, 10 minutes earlier. Your past is not the present. So it's a huge mistake that we've been taught and told, forget about the past, just look forward. No, the past. Do not dwell on the past, but learn from it. Just don't dwell. But you have to look back. You look at yourself, Nikki, 3 years ago, you were quitting your job. Today, you wouldn't enjoy the moment. When I saw you on stage, there is no way you could have had that much pleasure and the sparkles that you had in your eyes had you not had that. I was quitting my job 3 years ago. The taste ain't the same, right?
No, as a matter of fact, I'm glad that you said that, because I was talking to Daniel Gomez, who hosted Sticker Shock. That's the event that we've been talking about. And we did a follow-up call. And what I realized at that event is that I haven't walked in the new Nikki. Like, I'm walking in the new Nikki, like you've seen the sparkles, you've seen the presence, but consciously I'm still the old Nikki, right? Like, it's still a dream, it's still a want, a desire, but not realizing everything that I have done since saying yes, leaving my job, going through a year or two in the notary space, creating my personal development, building my first book. Now I'm a 4-time author.
Fantastic.
Then I have, thank you. Then I have my podcast, which we just celebrated a year anniversary. We're about to hit 150 interviews. I have a beautiful Ladies of Leadership group. I have a new Empowered to Inspire group that's co-ed, because we're adding the men to this tour, to this journey. All the events that I've either attended or I've hosted myself, whether live or virtually, like I did that. And that event at Sticker Shock, when I was hearing everybody, I'm like, you have to walk in that. You are not the same Nikki you were 3 years ago. You're not the same Nikki you were a year ago. So that event really opened my eyes to say, I am now walking in my purpose. Have I arrived? Absolutely not. There's still so much more to do. But it has been an absolute pleasure, an absolute eye-opener. How can people get a hold of you? What do you have coming up for fourth quarter? What is your goal and mission?
So here's what's happening now. So funny you said that. Today I spent most of my day with some publishers talking about the book. We talked about the first book, and then we're talking about the second book. I said the first book, like I said, so far perhaps some adjustment might be made, which is to the name or the title, but we're working on it. Is the book? I wanted to make it very easy. It's not about sympathy or empathy. It's about lessons learned, and yes, you could make it, by just doing it. And it's how yesterday shaped my today. That's hopefully will be the title of the book, and then we'll work on the second book, which is that has to do with childhood trauma and how you can help children, because it's not just about speaking business. Today we actually signed the contract with to launch the website very soon. So there's going to be the speaker website will be Zack Tlili speaker will be coming up soon. I have I'm on a process, like I told you, of auditioning for TED Talks. I might be going to see the TED Talk. I might be probably going to go on next month or beginning of the year to the TED Talk, show with Raul Lopez. It's a possibility to do that. It's also soon enough. I will be opening a speaking academy as well, but it's going to be different. The speaking academy is going to be really giving. It's going to be about giving, because we don't really get, I want to give. I want to give, the little bit that I've had today, I want to give it all tomorrow, because, it's what you do in life, goes for eternity. So, with the launch of the website, the books, hopefully, the first one to be published. Once the first one is published, 60 to 90 days, we'll publish the second one. The website, and auditioning, and of course the business, selling cars, producing finance income, and enjoying life one day at a time.
Excellent. It all sounds great. I can't wait to witness it all. And any way I can be a part of it, of support and BALM Global, we would love to do that for you. Also provide you some additional stages with our tour, which Texas, we're in Houston, January 20th, that weekend. So we'll be in connection with that. It's just amazing. I'm so glad that even that morning that I got my notification about it being delayed that Thursday morning. I don't know if you got together with the group that Thursday evening for like that dinner.
No, I did not.
Okay, so I didn't either because I was late. I actually got stuck in Orlando and got there that morning, Friday. I was going to actually just, as soon as I got that first notification about the delay, I was just going to cancel everything, get my refund, and not go at all.
Wow. And
something just bugged me. Like, your bags are packed. This is a great opportunity. Some great people are waiting to meet you because, I have already talked to some people and there's going to be other amazing people there. Do you really want to let this opportunity go? And I had to battle with myself because I'm like, do I want to go through this headache? Like, I did not want to, I've never had a delay in my life traveling, and I've traveled quite a bit. So I called customer service and they were like, hey, it's not going to be delayed. It's only going to be delayed 30 minutes, 1:11. You'll get to your connecting flight. No problem. So I went and I still got there late and missed my connecting flight.
Oh, no.
But my son was there and he was my rock. And I knew that everything that I do is for him. He's my why. He's his own entrepreneur, starting his own journey. He just graduated. I have to be mom right now. I have to be leading the way. I have to be okay. And when I wasn't okay, he was okay for me. So it was just beautiful to watch, like the whole experience, just the bond that we were able to amplify of what we had. And then to not be able to hear each and every story that I heard in that room, which obviously changed my mind about a lot of different things. All in great ways, of course, because I feel like it's very important that if you're going to grow in any capacity, you have to be in these rooms. No matter if it's our room, no matter, you have to be in someone's room, someone's event. They're just life-changing no matter what. And I'm just blessed that I made that decision to continue to go, because if not, I would have not heard your award-winning story. Absolutely powerful. Can't wait to see what we can do together in your coaching program. Anyway, again, that BALM can offer their services. I'm all about giving and empowering and building people up. And why not do it together, right?
Absolutely, absolutely,
Amazing.
absolutely.
So thank you so much. How can people get a hold of you? Your Facebook, email, best
So,
friend.
so email, pretty much, my email is Zack Tlili at outlook.com. Shortly, like I told you, with the launch and the website, they're gonna launch all of my social media platforms with it. So, and I'll share all of that information with you, so you can, also share it, and we'll be talking again. But as of right now, Zack Tlili at outlook.com. Easy. I respond daily, and can't wait to empower someone. We're gonna change people's lives one at a time, one at a time.
Absolutely.
You know.
There you have it. That is Zack Tlili, award-winning speaker, author coming up. Can't wait to stay connected with him. I will definitely put your email on the show notes once this goes live. Leave us with your final words for our community.
You know, there are things for everyone. Okay, so we don't want to be always be the victims. We don't want to act like always we're the victims. We have to think outside the box, from employees to managers to leaders, and because these are pretty much three entities. Let nobody else fool you with it. You can call yourself COO, CFO, whatever. Either you're a leader or you're a manager. It's very simple. So us, as let's say what I tell all employees. When you wake up in the morning, grinding your teeth, not wanting to go to work because you're miserable, you know, you are miserable because the reason for you for being miserable is you. So you have to change you first before anything else changes at work. As far as the employee goes, because when you dread and the complaining and the whining and crying, a lot of us have done over the years, that does not bring us any glory at all. It just puts an X on our back. Now, as far as employees, now as far as managers and leaders, my advice and my statement that I make, years ago, my wife was studying something, and she told me, "Hey, you want to watch this movie? It's about, I guess, about 11 men. It's about a jury, like some people, some case, and they had to, 12 or 11 or 12 juror, and it says, something about leadership. So the manager, like within the few seconds, somebody started talking a lot, wrapping around everyone, listen to me, do this, do that, and then my wife, she goes, that's the leader, and yet there is a guy in the corner sitting down, just watching and just quiet and just looking at everybody's face one at a time and writing things down by himself. I told her, no, that's the leader. She goes, what do you mean? The movie barely started. I said, the manager just wants to tell everyone who I am. I'm a manager, without doing anything. They love managing, they love the titles, but they're not there to give you anything. They're not there to lead you anyway, but just to be called managers. Leaders, on the other hand, they actually do lead. They talk the walk, they show the walk, and they walk the walk.
Mm.
Manager is there to get a title. A leader is there to lead. You cannot lead the industry. You are managing people that work for you. So if the employee goes to work with the mindset, I'm going to do everything to excel at my job, and we have to be good at it. We have to do that every single day. I'm not going to tell you that every employees are happy and satisfied for so many
Mm.
reasons or others. We cannot dive into all of it. But if an employee, before the first step out of your house, you make a decision and a commitment that you make it the best productive day ever, and the manager makes it his mission to manage and help, and if a leader makes it his mission to lead, not to take credit, he makes it his mission to take the blame for all the failures and to give the credit for all the wins. If three of these entities do what they do on a day-to-day basis, I promise you, there'll be so much harmony that we wouldn't know what to do with it. That would be like, what's happening in the workplace? This is abnormal. How? But unfortunately, we have employees that whine and cry. We have managers that like the title. Hey, look at me. Do you know who I am? I'm the manager. Even talking to clients and guests and customers, I'm the manager.
Yeah.
But you cannot fix my problem. And the leader is there pointing a finger. You failed. I don't want you today. You're miserable today. You're horrible today. But they never tell you how you failed and what we can do to help you with it. So my advice is for all of these three entities, for each one of us, whether you're a manager, an employee, or leader, to actually do your duties. Workplace will be just like another home. Will be just like a happy home. That's going to take a lot of work. It's going to
Wow.
take a lot of work. So,
Oh my goodness. You just made me realize something very, very, and I almost got emotional. I had to wipe a tear, which I still have it. It's coming down. So my role in corporate America is that I wanted a title, right? Based on the work that I put out there, but was always a leader as a corporate trainer and always talking to those who never wanted to come into work, always whining about something or complaining about something. And I always tried to say, hey, life is worth living. Let's figure out solutions. Let's not, let's figure out how we can solve this problem and how your week can go. Like my favorite work day was Monday. But in doing all that and doing that for 14 years and not getting the respect of getting a title, I had to go back to nursing school in order to get a management position in my job. I was not meant to be a manager. I was meant to be a leader. And that's why God put me through that journey. And you just made me realize that.
There you have it. You never want to be a manager. There are steps. You never want to stay a manager. Your goal is never to be a manager. Your goal is there to lead, and lead with empathy, kindness, care, responsibilities. Always, always a good leader will take the blame and the fault. And the leader will be your bulletproof vest. He's the one that will get shot at when things go down and go sideways. But yet, as an employee, he gives you all the credit when things go above and beyond. Now, that's the definition of a leader. Unfortunately, don't hold me to the number. I just made that up. I believe 95% of where we have are managers and no leaders. That are 5% of amazing individuals, like Steve Jobs, Martin Luther King. These are leaders, Yeah. Everybody else is somebody that wants a title to be a manager because it just looks good. Yeah. It feels good to be called the manager. Think about it. I'm the manager. Yeah. To get to leadership, you have to go through that road. You have to go through that bridge. But the mission is to lead. Yeah. And it's just the process. And when you do it right, it's amazing. Your name will be written in history books. And leaders, when they speak, they are remembered. Managers, when they speak, they like to be heard. I personally like to be remembered when I speak, not to be heard. So always speak to be remembered, not to be heard, because everybody gets heard.
Oh my God, so powerful, Zack. That was amazing. I'm going to have to watch this on replay over and over and over again, because you dropped some amazing nuggets and I could not take notes because I was so into everything that we had going on here. So I just want to thank you. Thank you for blessing our audience. Can't wait to have you back on here. Once everything is up and running, we will definitely have you back on in the new year for sure. Can't wait to stay connected with you and see what we can do together. I want to absolutely thank you. It's been awesome. It's been a pleasure. I want to thank our audience for listening to another episode of Building a Leadership Mindset podcast. Get connected with Zack. He's absolutely amazing. And he is a leadership coach. And if you are in that leadership space or you want to take ownership as an employee, as a coach, as a business owner, he is your guy. Thank you so much. Have a great day. And as I always say, make it count.
Thank you.
You're welcome.